It's Sunday night. You know what that means. We're a day early. So,
Nice.
surprise. But it is me, it is Carl. As always, I am joined by the one and only, the insatiable Anthony himself. Anthony, say hello to the people.
Good evening, everyone. And what a week we have. What a week we have, Carl. As always, we're going to have the Ringside Report. We're going to talk about all the latest news and rumours in the world of wrestling this week. Then we'll be talking through, apologies. Our next segment will actually be the long awaited interview, which Carl will
Oh,
give you some details on shortly. And then we'll be talking about this week in wrestling, which we cover the four big shows being Raw, NXT, AEW's Dynamite, and SmackDown. So, Carl, as I slightly alluded to just before, do you want to tell everyone what we've got in store for our segment 3 this week?
well, it is a big one, guys. We're excited about it. We've talked about it for a while now, and it's something we've wanted to do for a while. If you tuned in to last week's segment, it was an introduction to our Behind the Mask series. And this week, we are chatting with the one and only, the godfather of mask making, if you will, Mr. Stanley Allen Sherman from Mask Arts
Indeed.
Company. So he is the creator of the Mankind mask for Mick Foley, the creator of the Undertaker mask, as well as Abyss and several other masks that you may have seen in the
There's so
wrestling
many
world.
others. So many others.
So we are super excited to be chatting with Stanley, and hopefully you enjoy it as well. He's a fascinating guy, and yeah, we can't wait.
Indeed. So, Carl, that being said, shall I kick us off with the news? Shall we get this show on the road?
Start kicking off, Anthony. Kick off.
Right, so coming up tonight in the Ringside Report, we have wrestlers being fined for the thigh slap. We have another WWE trademark filed for Skull King. We have Serena Deeb potentially suffering a knee injury. We have the rapper Soldier Boy having a Twitter spat with more than one WWE star. We have multiple wrestlers teasing the AEW Revolution appearance. We have NXT moving to Tuesday night. We have Matt Hardy commenting on his broken gimmick in AEW. We have WWE's Kayla Braxton deactivating her Twitter account. We have Vince McMahon is still changing up WrestleMania plans at this point in this month. And lastly, we have AEW filing a trademark for Captain Insano. He shows no mercy.
Brilliant.
All that coming up right now. So, Carl, I think you've got the first one, have you not?
I do indeed, and I'm gonna slap my thigh while I super kick this one into the into the airwaves. So, controversial topic, thigh slapping. So, as we know, when certain moves take place in the wrestling business, to make them sound a bit more dramatic, there may be a little slap of the thigh to add that, much loved and adored sound effect of getting super kicked in the face, etc., etc. Until now. So WWE are reportedly going to be fining wrestlers when they see them do thigh slaps when throwing kicks going forward. I don't know why it's only
Next
for
week we'll be
throwing kicks.
reporting on WWE stars making no money.
Well, I mean, how many guys, with the types of moves they do you see slapping the leg? Adam
I think
Cole is
it's
horrendous for it. Even Drew McIntyre
apologies if
when he
I'm
hit the
wrong.
Claymore.
Is Shawn Michaels one of the most famous knee slappers, like thigh slappers in the biz? Didn't he famously do that with his Sweet Chin Music like every time?
Absolutely, yeah. So I don't know why it's only just become kind of taboo now, but I think we reported on this a few months back. Randy Orton got into a bit of a Twitter spat with, I think it was Tommaso Ciampa.
It was Tommaso at
Um,
the time, yeah.
Basically said, you guys just keep, slapping your legs or whatever while we do whatever on the main stage, and kind of had a bit of a back and forth on it. But yeah, WWE have now come out and said that they want to ban it, basically, or they're certainly going to fine superstars. Basically, they want to make money from you any which way. So if you've got a Twitch, they want a piece of that. Now they're going, well, what else? What can we do with just their basic move sets where we can take money out of them? So they're not
Pretty
going to ban
soon they'll
it.
be allocated a certain amount of food from catering, and if they exceed that, that's another fine.
Exactly. Exactly. So Yeah, this is this bit of a mental one, really, isn't it? I don't know why it's just kind of come
Do
out
you
of
know what?
nowhere.
I'm curious to know how you feel about this because to me that it's kind of part of wrestling. That's like getting upset about them stomping the mat when they kick someone.
Well,
When they obviously use the other foot to make the stomp sound louder, don't they? Do you know what I mean? And
well, that's it.
you know what's happening, but it's kind of part of the illusion and part of the theatrics of it. Like I don't know,
You've
it's
got to
almost a
ask you.
part of wrestling in a way.
You've got to ask yourself, is that coming next? Where do you draw the line? Like, it is a fundamental part of wrestling. It's always been there. And, so I don't know. I really don't understand where it's kind of come from, where the big vendetta. Maybe Vince has only just realized, do you know what? These guys are slapping their legs, damn it. So you better find those guys. Maybe he's just never realized all this time, but I don't know. It sounds absolutely mental. And I think there's
Yeah,
going to be
like
certain.
he saw Randy's tweet and was like, "They're doing what?" And then he's watched it back and gone, "Ah, shit."
Well, I mean, there's so many of them that do it like on a day-to-day basis with loads of different like everyone who does a super kick does that. Dolph Ziggler does it, Adam Cole does it,
Yeah,
and then even like I
it's one
mentioned
of the main moves you can get away with it, the super kick, because you're raising your leg towards your hand anyway. You know what I mean?
exactly
The thigh's right there. You get away with it.
exactly, and I mean there have been instances where it looks really hokey when it's maybe a bit overdone, but something like the Claymore, for example, imagine how tame that might sound or look if it's just meh.
I'd
Because
love a really, really meta thing now. And I know people don't really like AEW being petty about WWE. I want a really meta moment in AEW where Orange Cassidy does a super kick and then about 2 minutes later slaps his thigh. Because it suits his character anyway. A nice little dig at WWE.
I would love that, to be fair. I would absolutely love that. Um, but yeah, very, very random one to kick off the show this week. I don't know where it's come from, and I'm now going to be looking out for them even more, basically, because then it might even
Yeah.
do a little tally. Who's got fined the most this week?
It's
Um,
ridiculous. I mean, first chair shots to the head of band, and now this. I mean, the fuck.
don't get
I'm
it.
joking, of course. I understand the chair shot to the head one. So that was a real knee slapper, Carl.
Hey,
So the next one, as we like to put in like once a week here, WWE filed for another trademark. There's not a lot of info on this one. Obviously, the typical trademarking things where they say this is going to be used in T-shirts, merchandise, blah blah blah.
did you
But
say
the
merchandise? So
nice,
that was a visual cue for anyone watching on YouTube while I sipped
and
out of
obviously
our
this year
opening
has been
drink.
brought to you by. Uh, um, sorry, I'm aware this is an audio medium. I'm drinking Corona at the moment, and make
We
that
should
joke.
we shouldn't laugh.
Uh,
It was
we
funny.
shouldn't. But if you didn't laugh, you'd cry. Anyway, so the trademark they file for is Skull King. So everyone straight away, who has skulls a lot on his shirt? It's Triple H, obviously. So they're thinking this might be some sort of Triple H thing, which, fuck it, let's get the rumor mill rolling, Carl. Triple H is making a comeback in 2021. That's crazy. Think he's going to go for the title.
Fucking hope not. I
Uh,
mean,
I'm part of me, and you might disagree, Carl. Part of me in the back of my mind is thinking, could this be part of the Fiend's return? Is he going to come back as
mm,
the Skull King, Bray Wyatt?
to be
Because
fair,
the rest of his skin's been burnt off.
there were rumors that Triple H was going to come back and make a Mania appearance, maybe against AJ Styles. Um, but at the same time, I don't know why you would file trademarks or try and patent Skull King. He's had every every WrestleMania he has really elaborate kind of Skull King entrances, if you will. He was the Terminator one year, for fuck's sake,
To
and
be honest, I
obviously.
as far as because the obviously trademarking the terminology or the name or whatever you want to call it, I I actually think it's a bit shit.
Yeah.
I love like King of Kings and stuff like that. That was cool. Like to come out as the Skull King is just like, I mean, people have already made the slight joke of, well, it sounds like Skull King, so he's the old Skull King, the Skull King around, that kind of crap. But I don't know. For me, I'm just like, well, just come out as the King of Kings again. I mean, we'd love that. Or the game, like go with a retro classic. The Skull. I don't know. I'm not overly keen on Skull King, whatever they're going to use it for.
Yeah, bit of a bizarre one. And it does sound shit. So I
It
agree with
does
you there.
indeed. But
But
speaking of
speaking
shit,
of,
Carl. Sorry,
um, I feel really bad because the next one's about Serena Deeb.
but it's shit news. So
Well, yeah, there we go. Very shit news. So obviously the wonderful NWA champion, Serena Deeb, is currently on the shelf with a injury to, I believe, her left knee. So she posted a picture on Twitter of her coming out of the doctors or the hospital temporarily using a wheelchair with her leg elevated. And she said in the caption, update on my knee. I've just had a scope done and it went really well. I should be back before you know it. Smiling face. And then, thank you for all your support and concern. But I believe, I don't really know exactly what the full, intricate details are behind having, a knee scope, but usually it's like 6 to 8 weeks, I believe, of being on the sidelines.
Right.
So that could be, quite a big loss, obviously, for NWA and for AEW. She's been making a hell of a lot of appearances for AEW and putting on some really good matches. So all we can kind of say is hopefully it isn't that long of a period on the shelf, and hopefully we see her back soon. And we wish her a speedy recovery because she's been absolutely killing it since she beat Thunder Rosa
Fantastic
for
run with
for the belt.
As much as we love Thunder Rosa and we probably wanted her to keep the belt, she's had a fantastic run with the title. She's helped push NWA's title on AEW. She's helped sort of get some of the newer talents significant sort of pushes and stuff like that. So, no, definitely. We hope to see her again soon.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do. Speaking of people we want to see again soon, well, maybe not. The next one I've got, Carl, is have you ever heard of I mean, you and me are products of the late 80s, early 90s, most of the 90s in terms of music. So I've not really heard much of him, but you've heard at least one song from the rapper Soulja Boy. And this is a man who is known for his controversy. I believe once in his life selling bootleg consoles, which is an unusual thing for a successful rapper who's earned millions to do, but there you go. Well, this week, Carl, he has taken a bit of a shot. Probably not expecting as much of a response as he got, I don't think, in all fairness, but he put a tweet out there saying rap game faker than WWE, which obviously caught the attention of both T-Bar and Randy Orton, who did not take kindly to his comments. So Randy actually puts straight out the gate, going for it. He's put fake ? Dare this prick to step up. He don't like movies. Consider us actors that do stunts without pads 200 days a year and don't bitch when we get surgically repaired and come right back. Consider us 100 times tougher than anyone you've come across. Ain't nothing but a bitch ass. So that was Randy's response. T-Bar is sort of responded saying, like, does the rap game take years off your life and leave you with countless injuries and debilitating pain? Oh, well, maybe just stick to super soaking hose or whatever it is you did 15 years ago. I don't, yeah, okay. But basically, yeah, they're, you wonder sometimes, is this a work? Because there seems to be a lot of rappers who know enough about wrestling to take a shot at wrestling. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're not getting directly involved, like Snoop Dogg or Bad Bunny was the other guy who again I'm probably too old to and not cool enough to understand who that is. But we've had Cardi B in the last few months. We've now got Soulja Boy. We've got Lil Bow Wow. Or I think just Bow Wow now because he's grown up.
I think it's just Wow. No.
No. Okay. No Bow.
I mean, I imagine you just keep dropping bits of it, don't you? He was Lil Bow Wow, and then he's Bow Wow.
And then after he's had a few matches, he'd just be ow. Thanks. I mean, all week. But yeah, like there seems to be a lot of involvement from the rap community lately. What's going on? So this very well could be a work, but at the same time, he's known for making comments, and he's been known for controversy in the past. So maybe they have just took a bit of umbrage to a comment he made. This isn't the first time wrestling's been called fake. People like to clarify that the danger is still real. It's predetermined rather than fake, which I think is a better term for it myself. But there you go. So yeah, we've had that, and it's been sort of carrying on really throughout the week. I know in no way the same, but like he's had a bit of back and forth with Alexa Bliss as well over the last few days. Again, no sort of direct sort of things, but I think one of them he commented on that gif of her doing the Asuka dance or mocking Asuka's dance. So he commented on that and she's responded and stuff. So there's still a bit of back and forth going on, but where will it all lead? Are we going to see Soulja Boy versus Randy Orton with Bow Wow in his corner or something like that? Who knows? Is Cardi B going to go for the women's championship? Who knows? Anything can happen now.
It can. I mean, it's a good thing spoilers. If you don't want to find out what happened on Raw, then stop listening for the next 20 seconds. But with The Miz losing the belt this week on Raw, it's probably a good thing because otherwise we may have got Bad Bunny versus Miz in the main event of WrestleMania. So,
fucking hell, for the WWE title. Can you imagine?
Could you imagine?
I never really considered that as a concept, but yeah.
The thing you've got to think is, and I don't really know who Bad Bunny is either, so maybe we're just old, and we just don't get it.
We're definitely old.
But he is the top seller of WWE merch.
Bad Bunny.
I shit you not.
Does he have WWE merch?
He's got WWE merch. They released about 4 or 5 different T-shirts for him, and most of them are sold out. He's the number one merch seller.
Well, I'll tell you now, Mr. Bunny. Vince will love you. You might want to get a title shot in there. That's what it's all about. It's about selling that merch, man.
I think, does that speak volumes of how good Bad Bunny is, or how terrible of a job WWE have done to build new stars and create good merch?
Right. Not to go off topic, do you not think, let's use Drew as an example because he's the main one I've noticed. Do you not think the changes merch that frequently, it's hard to actually like one, if that makes sense? He wore the Talk Less, Clay More one, which I thought was a good slogan. He wore that once, and I've never seen it again. The merch seems to change that quickly that I'm like, I can't keep up with these shirts, so I don't. Do you think there may be a thing to that? Or do you think I'm just talking shite? Tell it it is, Carl.
I mean, you're always talking shite, but I think we're part of the problem because, as we know, they steal from the show constantly, and we keep coming up with clever quips and makes its way into WWE merch. So, we're to blame, really. But yeah, madness.
That's true. Madness.
And speaking of madness, nothing has quite caused the level of madness in the wrestling community over the past week or so. Even less than that. It was only Wednesday. But Paul White made his long-awaited AEW debut since they announced that they signed him. And what does he do? He announced that they've signed someone else. So this is going to be announced at AEW's Revolution pay-per-view, which is tonight for us. Probably yesterday, the day before, 3 weeks ago, whenever you decide to listen or watch this. But it's kind of set the wrestling fans into a bit of a frenzy because Paul White teased that it was a Hall of Fame level star. Tony Khan later went on, I think it was Busted Open Radio or something like that, another show not as good as ours, and basically was he basically was kind of saying it's one of his favorite wrestlers. It's a big name. He's absolutely right, etc., etc. So everyone's been kind of going, well, who could they possibly have got who's that big of a name, who's Hall of Fame word? They're literally reading into every little aspect. So going, well, it must be an ECW guy because Tony Khan was a massive ECW mark growing up. People are going, well, it's Hall of Fame caliber, so it can't be someone in the Hall of Fame yet. So it's gone everywhere. And what's been super hilarious is a lot of Hall of Fame caliber superstars have decided to get in on this. So it first started with your Olympic hero and ours, Kurt Angle.
And he is a Hall of Famer though, isn't he? So I was kind of ruling him out.
Well, exactly. But again, is that people reading too much into it, saying that he's, because Hall of Fame worthy might still mean that you're in the Hall of Fame, because he is worthy of being there. So, but he posted a video of himself.
Just him getting dressed, basically.
Basically, yeah. It was pretty.
That sounded a bit more wrong than I wanted it to actually.
But yeah, so we saw in the video just like him putting his old wrestling gear on and stuff, and it was like kind of to be continued. We've since found out that it was just apparently an advert for his podcast. But I feel like
yeah, definitely wasn't a deliberate little cheeky nod, was it?
Well, to be honest,
I always wear this leotard for my podcast. What are you talking about?
I think AEW got him in on it because what set a lot of people off thinking it was Angle as well is the fact that Conrad Thompson made an appearance on Dynamite this week, who was obviously the co-host of Angle's podcast.
Yeah.
So a lot of people were thinking, oh God, it must be Angle. And then for Angle to do that, I think they probably just went, it'd be great if you guys could troll them. And they've gone ahead and done that, which I think is fantastic. But it hasn't stopped there. So firstly, Kurt Angle got involved, but then several other people got involved as well. So another one was Pat McAfee. Um, is it McAfee? I can never say the guy's fucking name. McAfee
Look,
antivirus.
and this might catch the ire of a lot of like our American listeners because they're way more into him than we are. But I hope it's not. That'd be really disappointing for me.
I mean, Hall of Fame, Letty. I mean, I know maybe. I mean, what did he even do before he? I'm
Like,
guessing he could have been
thing
Hall
it,
of Fame in something else.
it's
Football.
mainly because
I don't know.
don't get me wrong, I wouldn't mind seeing him on there, but not in the way they've put this across. Because they're like, he's my favorite wrestler and he's a Hall of Fame level, and it's like, if it's him, I'm gonna be so pissed off. I'm gonna be so pissed off.
Yeah, me too.
It won't be, but if it is,
Well, exactly. But he also he posted some comments, I believe, which Cody Rhodes had to kind of respond to, and kind of was like, I've not seen the comments, etc., etc. But he also posted a little video of him packing what appeared to be some wrestling gear into a backpack. So everyone was like, "Oh, is it Pat McAfee?" But
where
then
has he been anyway? I didn't
who
even know
fucking
he'd left
knows?
WWE.
Who knows? I mean, has he? Or is he just going to rock
Well, I
up
don't
again?
know.
And
He appeared on Titantron, I want to say like 2 or 3 weeks ago, but not in person. I don't know. Kings of NXT have kind of melted away.
yeah, I've no idea. But the other one to also get involved was the one and only Bully Ray. So
Now
he,
this could be a really good shout.
yeah, so this would
ECW alum,
a-
Hall of
absolutely,
Fame level.
absolutely. So
Yeah.
this is something which has gone under the radar a little bit, I think. But as you say, it holds a lot of credibility, really. But he's finished up his whatever contract he had with Ring of Honor now. And obviously he is a free agent, so I know he's got his own show and stuff like that. But he posted a video, and it was a really old ECW kind of promo, and in there they basically said something along the lines of gods are immortal, and the revolution will continue, or something like that. And people have gone, "Oh, it says
I
revolution." So everyone's like, it's him. So that was the next one. And then another one.
love the connections as well. Like Ric Flair's quite recently talked about evolution. If you put an R in front of that.
Well, to
Sorry.
be fair, Big Show fucked up and called the pay-per-view Evolution, so you could be onto something there as well. And the last one is actually from Impact. So and this is just a case of timing, surely, but they posted a video of both Kurt Angle and Christian in a match and said it was like, oh, 13 years ago today, or something like that. And it's like, people were commenting, going, oh, what timing is this? And you're like, well, it's 13 years ago today. What do you want us to do? With like, kind of a smiley face or whatever. So basically, who the fuck knows? But
It
I
could
love
be
that
anyone.
everyone's getting in on the act and kind of just really trolling everyone, because I'd love it if it was just none of them. To be honest.
I want your opinion in a sec, right?
Mm,
And it's one of the ones that was rumored. Although I don't think he's participated because he's a bitter, angry man most of the time. But I really want it to be CM Punk. Now,
okay.
I know that's quite a polarizing thing. I know a lot of people hate him. I know a lot of people hate everything ever. I know a lot of people just hate the word AEW being uttered. But what's your opinion on, or who do you think would be the best shout? And I'll tell you my reason for CM Punk is that he is at the right age and he is a big enough draw that it would be a massive, massive help to AEW. I think in terms of the impact he could have on the company, he'd be the absolute best shout. Like, no offense to Kurt, Christian, Bully Ray, any of those, but they are legends who are doing more part time kind of. They're not there for like the long haul and the regular matches, and I get it. AEW have got a lot of young talent that they want to build up, but for me, I think they need another person who's more of a Jericho, where they're well known and they're a legend in a lot of senses, but they can be actively on the roster as well. And I think Punk fits the bill perfectly for that.
I agree, fully with you, to be honest. Like, I think fantastic that Christian has been clear to wrestle again, and I would love to see him have a final run. But the fact that they're saying that they're signing them to a multi-year contract and stuff, I don't believe Christian can go for that many more years.
Unless
Personally,
multi-year, it's two,
I mean,
1.5 actually. But
that is possible, and like everyone's kind of jumped to conclusions of it being like a 5-year deal and stuff, but I don't think it's ever been mentioned anywhere. That being the
no,
case, but Angle, I think, charisma wise would be incredible for that business in terms of helping them with pro.
I,
They've got
do you know what?
Jake.
I'd love to see Angle in the same position he was in WWE as like a general manager or something,
Well, exactly.
like being the on-screen like match guy. But
People
I'm sure it's temporary. Okay.
well, people shat all over that when he was in WWE, in that GM role, saying he was really bad and he was past it, and he's hardly got any neck left at this point. Let's be perfectly honest. He won a fucking gold medal in '96 with a broken freaking neck, and then he's continued to wrestle. He's had nothing but neck problems, and he probably
It's
shouldn't
not
be
the
going in the ring anymore.
yeah.
So,
I'm
yeah, I
sure
wouldn't
like
like to see it.
it's an addictive business, and we've talked about this before. And I'm sure he probably should be retired. And similarly, I'm sure he's got another match in him. But like you say, this can't be a multi-year deal kind of thing. But I think he was really underrated as Raw GM. Bear in
Me
mind, he was
too.
trudging through a shit storyline where Jason Jordan was his son illegitimately or something.
Yeah.
Like you got to work with what you're given sometimes as well. But I actually really liked him in that role. I think he knows enough about the business that it was a credible idea. You
hmm
know.
Yeah,
So,
100%. I think if it was CM Punk, that would be the only one where people would be like, "Oh shit, okay, they're not just signing WWE rejects who are past the prime, etc., etc." Like CM Punk probably still from the short list we've got available of people who can actually, who aren't under contract, for example. He's the one who could have the longest amount of impact and drum, the
because
most kind of.
people can get like pissy about him, but like he's still a big draw. Like I've even said in the past, like oh he's past his point for coming back to WWE now. Like it wouldn't be as impactful. The reality of it is, it would even when I'm talking shit. People know who he is, and he would still have a big impact. People will tune in. WWE people will tune in, even the ones who passionately hate AEW. They'll tune in, even if it's just to hate the man. It's
That's it.
it is a good shout.
People have wanted him to return to the ring. I think what has he been gone for like 7 years or something now, something crazy. Like that's how quick time has gone.
Yeah, I want to say it was 7 years. Yeah,
So that's a long ass
2016 was it
time.
he left?
I mean, it sounds like ludicrous, doesn't it, to be fucking 7 years, but that is how long he's been gone. So I think everyone's been clamoring for him to make a return, and if it is him, then I think it is worthy of that announcement. Of course, a lot of people are saying that it's AEW overhyping it like to the fucking max, and it's going to be someone like Rob Van Dam, with no disrespect to Rob Van Dam because he's one of my favorites, but again, someone who a lot of people think shouldn't be on the active roster anymore and should kind of hang them up and stuff. So who knows?
Thing is,
But
like, that's the only worry I've got because AEW. This wouldn't be the first time AEW have overhyped something,
mhm,
and admittedly, I think it was deliberate hype, and then plans fell apart. I think in the past when Tony's hyped something up and it's not been anything much. Because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Carl, because I can't remember who it ended up being who turned up, but I think he was trying to hype up Sting, and then it didn't happen when it
right.
should have, or something like that. But in any case, they have got a little history of like hyping stuff up and it not panning out. So hopefully, I think this has gone too far now. I think like whoever it is, they definitely think they're big.
Mhm.
Like if this is an overhype in anyone's eyes, it's not going to be because like they deliberately overhyped it. It's going to be because they honestly believe whoever they've got is this bigger draw.
Yeah,
So we'll see. We will see.
no, definitely. I think as well, if anybody hasn't seen Revolution or is going to listen to this or watch this before they actually find out who that is, just don't go into it with because I like the level of names of that being thrown around. People think it's John Cena or The Rock or
I mean,
Batista or
let's
people
be
like
honest.
that.
People like John Cena, The Rock, Taker, all those sort of people, they are WWE guys through
Yeah,
and fucking through. That's
yeah.
never going to happen.
So I think a lot of the time people just set themselves up for disappointment and like
Although I sent you that tweet before, which I did particularly like, where they said they confirmed that John Cena's the one, and it was just an empty arena. That did tickle me.
was fantastic to be fair.
Classic joke.
But yeah, so I know like no one knows who it is. I think that's a fantastic thing. You know how long's it been since we had a proper surprise in the business, and whether it's amazing, whether it's shit, I'm excited. I've been looking forward to it ever since I found out. So that's what we like to see, and fair play to everyone getting involved and trying to stir the pot, if you will. So yeah, very much looking forward to it. Can't wait to find out who it is
Indeed.
tomorrow.
Whoever it is going to bust down that forbidden door. What do you think of? Sorry, it's slightly connected, but it is a slight digression. What do you think of this subtle suggestion I'm seeing going around social media now, where they think that there is already a deal between Vince and AEW, and there's some sort of partnership or some sort of working relationship being built there to the point that we potentially could see like someone from WWE, like a big name from WWE, rock up, and it starts this whole obviously kayfabe war between the two, but like they actually invade each other and shit. What do you make of this? Do you think that would be? I mean, it'd be cool as fuck, but are we just thinking about these things because it'd be cool as fuck?
Maybe, I mean, I can't see it personally, but if if tomorrow it turns out to be, I don't know, fucking Kevin
And
Owens
this
or
is,
something rocks
I
up,
know, right?
then
This is purely born from people like obviously we had, I think it was Kenny Omega at one point saying like the open to a relationship with WWE or whichever, and I think Triple H has made similar noises in the past, not directly with AEW, but saying they're open for business when it comes to working with others. So it's almost suggesting that the possibilities are there if you get the right people to come to the right agreement. Like, so I can see why people are having these thoughts, but I mean that would be one of the biggest things to happen in wrestling for a fucking long time if we do that.
I mean, could you imagine actually having the invasion angle, but just done
With like
yeah,
fucking big indie start, like because they are sort of big on the indies and like people like who we never thought we'd see in WWE, like Kenny Omega and that, like, and he's already invaded Impact as like a tester, if you will. It'd be fucking awesome.
yeah, absolutely.
And it imagine it adding to this whole belt collecting thing that he's kind of doing.
He just goes in there, rocks up, wins fucking, even if it's just a 24/7 title, and it's just like, yeah, took it with me now.
Belt collector, and off I go. Oh fucking hell. Imagine that being the epitome of what happens. Like, yeah, we've got a working relationship. The 24/7 title you'll now see on Dynamite. It's like, oh fuck.
Yeah. I mean, if anything happens, I could see that being the thing, like, yeah, we'll allow the 24/7 title to change hands in other promotions. That's it.
Yeah. You just see R-Truth running around backstage or on Be the Elite. Like, oh, yay. Sorry, that was a digression. My next one, Cal. I think it's pretty foregone at this point, although I don't believe we've had an official statement from WWE. But it's this suggestion that NXT is now moving to Tuesday night. This has been heavily suggested because the USA Network are now covered in the NHL, and we believe the NHL will be taking the Wednesday night slots. So let's just assume that this is the case, and the war is over. Now let me deal with this chip on my shoulder, because you know what really bugs me? The fact that you can't say that AEW won the war, right? I'm all for if you want to go, it wasn't really a war, because we're all products of the Attitude Era, and we know what the real Monday Night War was like, and this is probably more of a scuffle, right? So I get it if you want to quibble over the terminology of war, but people are like, defenses I constantly see to this, right? Defenses I constantly see when you go, oh yeah, AEW won, and they're like, no, they didn't. Like, no, they did. They consistently outperformed them. Yeah, but it wasn't by much. Yeah, but they still did. Like, they still beat them in the demographic. I don't want to be that guy. Still beat them in the ratings most of the time, right? So consistently they did. I said, yeah, but they were just dealing with a third tier show of WWE. It's like, yeah, a show that had been around longer and should have beaten a 2-year-old new promotion that came out of nothing.
Yeah.
Like, constant defenses, and it's like unnecessary defenses, because what does it matter? If these people who are so defensive of WWE just turn around, yeah, they won that one, is WWE going to cease to exist if you admit that? No, it's fucking not. I like WWE. I like AEW. I'm fine with going, yeah, AEW won that. Right? This is good for everyone. Both people are going to get the ratings up because they're not competing for viewers anymore, right? But what is the problem with saying AEW outperformed NXT? Why can't we say that?
This is what baffles me. I don't understand why people have to be so fucking like crazy about it. If you say one thing and someone's an NXT fanboy, they will lose their shit, right? And if you say something about fucking AEW, you've got AEW fanboys who will lose their shit. It's just wrestling. Just enjoy all of it. It's not
thing.
No one's saying you can watch one show. You can watch all of them if you want.
And I'm not being biased, right? Like, I'll admit AEW are bad as well. Like, AEW, the minute they don't win on the ratings, their fan base are going, yeah, but they won in the demo and stuff like that. And it's like, calm the fuck down. It's 1 week or 2 weeks here and there that you haven't won in the ratings. Just admit you lost in the ratings. You don't need to start talking about the fucking demographic, right? So I'm willing to admit they're just as petty. It really gets me goat that we can't just say they won that one. Like, all right, it wasn't a war, and my worst one, the one that gets me the most is when they're like, oh, it's a third tier show. It's like, I don't, as an AEW fan, I've never once said that AEW can compete with Raw or SmackDown, ever, because realistically they can't. Like, WWE is a behemoth, and it's been around for what, 30 plus years, easy. Raw is their flagship show. People know about WWE and know about Raw who don't even like wrestling because of how big it was at one point. It's an institution in a way. People know Monday Night Raw, so they're like, it's going to be a really tough thing to beat. And they, like, if you look at it, SmackDown and Raw have been beating them in the beating both of them in the ratings consistently all the way through this. If you want to throw them in the mix, but that's not the point. This AEW is 2 years old. Like, the people they should have been competing with was NXT. It was a logical battle. That's why you compete with NXT, because it's on the same level. So why are we going, well, oh yeah, well, of course they're going to beat NXT. They're a third tier show. It's like, well, yeah, but that's why they went up against them, because they're 2 years old.
Yeah.
Like, get the fuck over it. Sorry. Yeah. Anyway.
No, I completely agree.
There's your news.
I'm so happy that you said it, because I completely agree. And the thing with it is, as well, is that NXT was seen as the more wrestling based show, and your Raws and your SmackDowns is sports entertainment, and it's got wrestling in it, but it's got more mass appeal to casual audiences, and they're on different days with different times, different networks with a lot more reach, etc., etc. So AEW would never compete with them, and even if they were on the same level of network, stuff like that, as you've already said, WWE is an institution, and it's probably got more mass appeal anyway. But yeah, just they lost consistently week after week in both fucking ratings and demo. So, what can you say? Whether you say it's a war or you make excuses, they fucking lost. And now if they're going to move to Tuesdays now, and it's like, well, obviously that was going to happen because of NHL. Well, okay, maybe, but you still can't deny they got their ass fucking kicked. So.
They were in direct competition, and now they're not.
Exactly.
And AEW won.
Exactly.
Can you imagine applying this logic to anything else, Carl? You're a big football fan, or soccer to the Yanks, right? You're a big football fan. Can you imagine, like, you watching Everton and being so aggressively Evertonian that you go, well, yeah, but they didn't lose by much, and they weren't even like up against a real team and stuff like that. It's like, well, and they still fucking lost. That's the bottom line of it. I just don't get that logic, man.
Exactly. And being an Everton fan, I'd be like, they're shit. They're fucking shit. And I'd be, a lot more passionate about that anyway. But
no, that's it. I'm over it now. I'll not mention it again. Just wanted to get it off my chest. And it technically was news. They're moving to Tuesday nights. Happy days.
Yeah, basically. So the TLDR is AEW kicked NXT's ass in the ratings, and they cried and went for Tuesday nights. Come at me, NXT fanboys. So the next one we've got for you is not what I was expecting to see. Oh yeah, there we go. I haven't opened the link. So this next one, I was like, that's not Vince McMahon. So Matt Hardy, he's had an interview recently around obviously his time with AEW and the broken Matt Hardy character. And basically, he's come out and said it just didn't work. It didn't translate well in the current AEW audience, and it would be much better in front of a kind of a live audience and etc. etc. Which I don't know. I'm very keen to get your thoughts on this, to be honest, because I know you weren't massively keen anyway. But I prefer Broken Matt to Big Money Matt. And I think him coming out saying it works better in front of a live audience, I don't understand that either, because all his fucking matches were in the Hardy compound and were fucking theatrical matches and stuff anyway.
I'll agree on that. Like, I think saying it works better in front of a live audience is BS. The only thing he got better from a live audience was doing a delete chant.
Yeah.
Like, that was kind of cool. That must have been fun for him because people were doing it with him, right? But like you say, most stuff was pre-recorded. And I saw a lot more freedom in AEW when he was doing the broken gimmick to mess around with stuff, like when he kept appearing in different spots in the arena, and various bits like that, or the Stadium Stampede when he kept changing personas and stuff. Admittedly not a broken gimmick, but they were able to pull stuff like that off because of the lack of audience, which allows for that creativity, which is what he was kind of going for. the problem, I think, is he's putting excuses in with stuff like that when the reality of it is the broken gimmick had its day in TNA, and that's it. It didn't work in WWE, and it doesn't work now. And some people love it, and some people like seeing echoes of it. I've never got it. I've never understood it. Like, and I feel like an old man saying it. You know, it's up there with Bad Bunny for me. I just don't get it. What, right? So, you know, personally, I would rather that I'm not. To be honest, I liked the multi-personality Matt, and this was purely because I got to see version 1, which is my favorite Matt.
Oh yeah.
As much as a lot of people probably wouldn't agree with that, he's my favorite Matt because he was the one who was like keeping SmackDown held up for a while, as far as I'm concerned, right? But Big Money Matt, to me, he's playing someone else's character. We've seen this kind of character a million times before, and that's all he's doing. There's nothing, considering this guy, I've always give credit for being creative, and I've always had him pegged as my favorite Hardy because he is more creative than Jeff, as much as Jeff's going, well, I'll dive off that. And Vince loves that kind of mentality. Matt's always been the more creative, and I think this is kind of just, I sounds too harsh saying it, but I think this is just kind of lazy.
I mean, it's a massive cop out, isn't it? It's just it's not him. He doesn't need to be this character. Even like unkillable Matt Hardy, which he did just before Big Money Matt, was better than this. It doesn't fit him. If you can tell he's playing a character, you can tell he's putting it on, and you know, obviously he couldn't have maintained the multiverse of Matt Hardy once the fans came back because it's not,
No.
you know, it's not really doable, is it? As much
No,
as
it
we
has to be like
it.
a different one every week or something to pull it off
Yeah,
feasibly.
exactly, exactly. You definitely couldn't be doing it in the same match, for example, really. But yeah, it was fun while we got it, and some of the stuff they did with Broken Matt, I thought was good as well. And I honestly don't mind the character, but I just think every incarnation of Matt Hardy is better than Big Money Matt, which is what we've got at the minute. So whether he's saying it didn't work for reasons X, Y, Z, he needs to do something and change something up quick because I can't stand this Big Money Matt character. Not even a good way.
Sadly, I think we're going to get it for a while because he's managing those guys.
Private Party.
Private Party. I was going to say he's managing the Street Profits, and like they want him in this managerial role, and that's just how it is. You know what I mean? Annoyingly.
Yeah, not a fan. But interesting comments though. I think, especially around the live audiences and stuff like that, and the demographics that buy into it, and it just not working there because
fucking always boils down to the demographics, doesn't it?
Always down to the demos. And that's why we are the demo pod. That's all that matters.
Indeed. My next one, Carl. A bit of this is again the internet's being a horrible fucking place, sadly, but we need to mention it because like it's wrestling related, bottom line, I suppose. And that is very recently Kayla Braxton, who is forgive if I got a title wrong, but she's like a backstage commentator or an interviewer along that line. She does a lot of sort of that sort of stuff with WWE anyway. And quite recently she put a tweet out, and the tweet itself, she says, "My whole life I had to choose, are you black, are you white, which bubble do you fill in on the SATs? I always filled it other because nothing applied to me. So tonight I can choose to be over having to choose. Hello world, I'm Kayla. Oh, and yeah, I'm bi, right?" And this got a lot of positivity, a lot of support from other wrestlers, a lot of their fans, but like people like Lance Storm and the like as well. So there was a lot of positivity to come from it, and I'll admit I didn't see the negativity. I'm sure there was because sadly the world's full of cunts. But sorry, I shouldn't have dropped the C word there. But anyway, quite not long after that, she's actually deactivated her Twitter account, so you can't find her on Twitter now. And this isn't the first time she's done it, so hopefully she will be back, and it won't be like too much of a problem. But I actually can't say as to why. Like it's heavily suggested it's come from a lot of negativity to her last tweet, which I hope's not the case, but I can very much see it as well, sadly. But it sort of happened that quick that I'm not. I didn't specifically see any negativity, but she's now deactivated not long after making that statement, which is a shame, really, because you got to be who you want to be.
Yeah, Absolutely. It's just so unfortunate. Every time I see a story like this, it pisses me off because I hate the absolute cesspool that, is a portion of the online fucking community because they think especially on a platform like Twitter where you don't have to go by your real name and you can, come up with an alias, whatever. They think that you're invincible and you can just say things that you would never say to somebody in person or if you saw them in the street. So I just think it's absolutely disgusting. And if you,
Yeah.
I mean, if you, I'm not saying you can't even disagree with things. Like you can agree and you can have your own opinions on everything, but
Well, I will
some
say one
things are
thing.
better left unsaid, aren't they? If that's what you want to do for sound, don't go
Well,
and attack someone.
I think that I do agree with you that you can have your own opinion on things, right? But maybe wait till someone fucking asks for it.
Well, yeah, that too.
Because if you've got an opinion about someone's life or what someone's
Hmm.
doing, and it's none of your fucking business, maybe keep your mouth shut. Because at the end of the day, if she's bi, that's who she wants to be, right? And I'm sure there's plenty of people who've got like heavy fucking opinions on that kind of shit, right? But at the end of the day, it's got nothing to do with them. You live and let live.
Hmm.
Fucking stupid world. It's like everyone likes to jump on the bandwagon and everyone likes to jump on giving their opinions about shit that's got fuck all to do with them. Similar thing with like everything that happened over like, well, look at how angry people get, and I'm really not gonna pull on this thread too much, but look how angry people got over the political stance in America. If you
Hmm.
just support Trump or don't, at the end of the day, right? And I won't offer much political opinion other than saying doesn't matter what people support. Like that's their opinion versus your opinion. Like bottom line of it, isn't it?
Hmm.
But anyway, yeah, Twitter's full of bastards.
Yeah,
Your one,
basically.
Carl.
Basically, stop being a dick and hiding behind a little fucking alias and driving people away from things. Just if you want to think your own thoughts, sounds, but no one's asking for your opinion if you've got
Yeah,
nothing positive to say. So
and
fuck
we'll be
you.
bringing out our latest merch, which is our new slogan: "Don't be a dick."
uh, well, I can't wear that. I'm a dick. Um, but anyway, so the next piece of news, and this was what I was expecting to see before when I saw Matt Hardy's creepy face. So basically, shock horror, Anthony. I'm sure this will come as a big surprise. Vince McMahon still hasn't got a fucking clue what he's doing about WrestleMania 37. Believe it or not. So we're in March now. It's like a month and a bit away, and basically there was a set of matches which so they've only announced two, haven't they? They finally decided it's going to be Roman and Edge, and they finally decided it's going to be Sasha and Bianca. So the two people that won the Royal Rumble have now got opponents. Everything else is up for grabs, and
Yep.
the belief and the way that the storylines have been going pointed to several other matches probably taking place, right? And these are things that you know we've put on our Instagram, for example. So the likelihood of potentially seeing Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley, potentially seeing Miz and Morrison against Bad Bunny and Damian Priest, loads of other different potential. I think Asuka and Charlotte Flair, etc., etc. So these are all the way it was seemingly going to be going. But apparently, Vince McMahon has now decided this week that it needs to be even bigger and better. And so he is now expected to scrap most of the original ideas he had for WrestleMania. So I'm baffled. I know Kurt Angle mentioned on his podcast, he said way back when, the WrestleMania card will be pretty much decided there or thereabouts by December time, at least the bulk of the cards and the main matches. He said when he was there in his final run, it was way, way later than that. And I don't even think it was as late as we are right now. So I get
Thing
it.
is, this is the fucking problem because how can you go into WrestleMania when you've been building up stories for weeks and not have an idea what the card's going to be? That's baffling.
Well, every week we hear that Vince is tearing up the script and they're rewriting it on the fly and stuff like that, and it shows in it shows in the show because every week we're there going, "What the fuck happened here?"
Yeah. Why have they forgot about this?
Yeah, and again, spoilers for Raw, which we're going to be talking about in more detail, but we got Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus on Raw, right?
Yeah. which is a
And it was
fucking good,
just,
at least a pay-per-view level match for
it
fuck's
was
sake.
fucking fantastic, right? And
It
it
was.
really bothers me why we didn't see this at WrestleMania. They've built this thing up for
It
way
was
longer
just
than
another
anything
week of
else.
Raw, Carl. I could have probably lived with it more if it was a pay-per-view.
It was just another week
It
of
was a
Raw.
week of Raw.
It was just another week of Raw. It was the opening match. It didn't, and it was part of other shit that was happening with Miz and fucking Lashley and stuff, and it was just a throwaway thing that happened, and it infuriated me, to be honest. But when you've got all this going on, and don't get me wrong, looking at that WrestleMania card, and I mentioned it before, they haven't done a good enough job of building up stars to the point where you can look at a card and go, "Ooh, that feels WrestleMania worthy." And
Mm.
that's why they're constantly. Vince now will have done exactly the same thing and looked at that card and gone, "We really need like a John Cena or a Goldberg or big names, marquees, WrestleMania." And because they haven't fucking built anybody, do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it's like, well, it's just it is mental. So I highly expect now to start seeing the likes of fucking Goldberg crop back up for him to try and do everything he
I
can to get
fucking hope not.
fucking Brock Lesnar, to get Cena, to get any name that
Thing
he
is,
can to rock back up.
let's be honest, right? If he tears up the script a little bit, and I know your feelings on Lashley and the main events at Mania and what it should be, but if he goes out of his way, throws money at Brock until he goes, all right, I'll come back, and he has a match with Lashley at Mania, I can live with that.
Yeah, me too. I can
You
live
know,
with
if you
that
can pull stuff
because
like that off.
it's a match that we wanted to see for ages, but it's when he just kind of
Exactly.
shits the bed and goes, "Well, I can't get Brock, so I can get Goldberg. I don't know, maybe we'll just do Goldberg versus fucking Roman Reigns, and we'll have Edge and Daniel
Yeah.
Bryan." You know, you know what I mean? It's like, what?
Yeah.
Like, how do we get here in a month
What's
without any
happened?
build? So,
It's yeah.
yeah,
And it seems like the only other thing that seemed like that's going ahead, and I know they haven't confirmed it on the card, is probably the most fleshed out story, dare I say, of Braun Strowman versus fucking Shane.
which everybody wants to fucking do. I mean, he's a
They've actually
madman,
put
isn't
some
he?
effort
Let's
into
be
that.
honest. Let's be honest. Shane McMahon is a madman. Every year at WrestleMania he goes, "Who do I want to murder me?" Here we go. So this time it's going to be Braun. So fair play. But yeah, I mean stuff like, and I know this is unfortunate, obviously with I don't mean unfortunate the fact that Lacey's pregnant because it's wonderful news, but in terms of the storyline, I believe something more
Yeah,
was going to happen with Lacey and Charlotte and stuff potentially. But
and
now we're
that
just
was
probably
your
going
you
to get.
wanted that. You
Well,
wanted that
exactly,
so bad.
exactly. And don't get me wrong, when we saw it on Raw, it was fucking shit. But I believe they could have done better. Um,
Well, I think
but
that was the plan, though. They were going to rematch, and it was going to be better. But hey ho,
yeah,
maybe
but
without a
now,
crying Flair. Who knows?
like, if we just get if we just get Charlotte and Asuka now, for example, like that's gonna suck as well. So I don't know. I honestly don't know what they've got planned. It scares me that they haven't, got everything planned anyway. Like I was looking when I was trying to, because what I originally wanted to do with that social media post that we put out was, here's what we believe the card's going to be, and I legitimately couldn't think without just throwing them in a multi-man match or an Andre the Giant battle royal. I was like,
Yeah.
well, what can we do with the likes of some of these fucking big names? Do you know what I mean?
But you see, this is the scary thing when you see names who you know they deserve to be on Mania, but where do you put them? That's a scary concept, that isn't it? Really.
Yeah, absolutely mental. So yeah, so Vince hasn't got a fucking clue what he's doing. He's tearing up the script for the biggest show of the year, and who knows what we're gonna get. So yeah, mental, mental, mental,
Yeah.
mental.
I'm gonna call it now. I'll call it now, Cal. Quote me on this. Fuck
Go
it.
on.
Right? Bianca Belair is turning heel, and Reginald's gonna help her win the fucking title. That's what's happening at Mania. Calling it now.
Don't even get me fucking started on Reginald. Like
Don't get me.
what?
But they insert him into this unnecessarily to the point that I'm like, okay, he's like so into Sasha that that's gonna be the 10, the trick, the bit that we didn't see coming, because he's gonna help Bianca Belair beat her, and then she's gonna be a heel. I'm gonna get a heel Belair.
Hmm. Hmm.
Just throwing out there. That's a fact.
Why have you even put that out into the universe, Anthony? Because they're gonna listen to
Because
it and they're gonna do it.
if
It's
you're
just
listening, Vince,
yeah.
fuck it, why not?
I'm just gonna call it now. Bad Bunny is gonna sign a check to one Carl from the A to the K Wrestling Show for millions and millions of dollars at WrestleMania. I think that would be a great. great card, spot on the card. That you know, don't
And it's a
you
real check, not one of these kayfabe ones.
don't you steal that idea? Don't you steal that idea,
Oh, you
WWE?
bastards.
Mm.
So the last one, Carl. This is an interesting one, actually. I actually, and I mentioned this to you before, I had to double check my sources on this because
Yeah.
I was like, nah, this is one of them piss takey things, isn't it? Apparently, it's not, right? And the last one, it's another trademark, but this trademark is filed by AEW in relation to games. I'm sure there's a bit more to that paragraph, but video games. And they've trademarked Captain Insano. Now, given the recent signing of Big Show or Paul White. Is it White? White or Wright? I've lost it for a sec there. White. He was famously in an Adam Sandler film known as The Water Boy, which is back when Adam Sandler put I don't want to say put effort in, but they were more entertaining than his current films. Sorry, Adam.
Sorry. I'm just drinking some high quality H2O.
And obviously, in that film, Big Show featured in that film and played a character known as Captain Insano, who was a professional wrestler. So the suggestion is they're filing this trademark, and it's in relation to video games, so that this is going to be some sort of DLC or additional character that they are literally using the character from the Water Boy. So that's interesting and unusual, to say the least. But I do think this is a good indicator that this game might be a lot of quirky fun. What do you reckon, Carl?
You know what? I really hope so. I used to love some of the old school games, like unlockables and stuff, like the old Spider-Man game, even like Tony Hawk's and stuff, where you'd unlock a load of cool gear and like a load of random
Remember the old
faces you
Spider-Man
didn't
game
know were in
where
the
you could
game.
complete it, you could play through the whole game again as Green Goblin?
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. And I think with obviously, Kenny being a massive, gaming fan, I'm sure that they are going to try and do something like that where it's like quite fun and unlockables and stuff. And I just think that's such a cool thing. Like they've got Paul White now. They're obviously going to put him in the game as a wrestler as Paul White, but they can't use the Big Show. So why not use
Yeah, they won't be
Captain
able to use his
Insano?
WWE images. But yeah, going for Captain
Exactly.
Insano, it does tickle me. I like it. So it makes you wonder though, what else are we going to get? Because if you look at everyone, it's a similar thing. Like they could use Big Money Matt, yay, and they could use Broken Matt, and probably Matt Hardy because that's just him. But like the version 1, imagine you they've been getting away with using the version 1 stuff. I'm intrigued actually. I would have thought that was WWE property. I'm talking shit. Let's carry on.
Well, I think anything that they don't own in terms of a trademark or a copyright on something, you could see it potentially rock up in this console game whenever it does finally, make its way to us. So, based on the amount of talent that they've got and things like that, I'm sure we'll get Painmaker Chris Jericho. That's not something that WWE own. I'm sure we might get like the Lion Tamer version of Jericho from WCW way back when, if that's not something that they own. So. Yeah, I'm excited to see.
Yeah, no, it's interesting, and this trademark as much as it'll just be like a little daft additional character, it's one of them things that's I don't know. It's a clear sign that they're going to be making quite a fun game, which I think we've been missing for a while. No offense to WWE's games, but that real sports feel kind of took some of the daft fun out of it. I always preferred the SmackDown games and stuff like that for that reason.
Well, that was it. It was more arcadey, wasn't it? You could button bash a little bit. You just spam until you get your finisher. That was a lot more fun. It's too tactical now, isn't it? You've got to have your analog stick at the exactly the right thing. Yeah. People want to have fun when playing games, so hopefully this will be.
This isn't fun.
Imagine people wanting to actually enjoy playing games.
It's crazy.
Imagine.
But that's the news.
That is the news of the week. A lot of interesting stuff happening. Can't wait. Literally cannot wait to find out who the big surprise is and probably be suitably disappointed at who it actually is. But that's why we love wrestling. So looking forward to that. We've still got a surprise in the ladder match as well. So got that to look forward to, which I can't wait for. And yeah, loads of mad shit happening in the world of wrestling.
Yeah. And when we're here tomorrow, we're not here, but when we're on social media tomorrow going, I can't believe Sandman debuted for AEW. Like, no offense to Sandman, by the way, but I'm just trying to think of an ECW guy. Have they had Tommy Dreamer yet?
Well, he's an Impact, isn't he? So
The forbidden door's open, Carl.
could be Sabu. Never know.
See, so many possibilities. So many possibilities. Yeah, sorry. Anyway, yeah, it is a very exciting one. I can't wait to see. I'm not going to stay up till early hours to find out because I got work tomorrow.
That me either.
But
yeah,
I'm still excited.
Yeah. So that was the news, and we will be back after this awesome video.
You're watching or listening
to A to the K.
The A to the K.
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 These guys are awesome. Check it out.
Check it out. Change your life. You'll be thanking me later.